online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
You are listening to the beautiful sounds of Little Big Town. This is the guest judges tonight on the episode. Welcome to Project Runway All Stars Season 5, Episode 3, I believe.
Yep.
And with me to my left is the gorgeous and amazing Michelle Uberreste.
Hey.
And I'm Amanda Fields. Dan Babick is out hosting a pre-Oscars event tonight. Go, Dan. And we wish him the best, and he'll be back next week. So we're excited to get into this week's challenge because it is a team challenge, and it always brings the drama. Unfortunately, this week there was more drama off the runway than on the runway. We have Emmy winner, Grammy winner, and multiple Academy of Country Music Award winners, as I said, Little Big Town. And I didn't realize that this band includes 2 women and 2 men. I didn't know it was such a big group.
Yeah.
You may or may not know, I don't know that much about country music. So I was excited to learn about this band because I think they're pretty awesome. And we find out that the 2 lead singer women of the band, Karen Fairchild and Kimberly Schlapman, they are going to wear the winning looks from tonight's challenge. And I don't know, I think it's exciting to see what country singers wear, because a lot of the time we hearken back into Reba McEntire and Shania Twain and Faith Hill, and my southern accent's going to come out tonight. But all these looks that I've grown up looking at from these singers on the red carpet, even if I didn't hear all their songs, it's interesting because they kind of are in this like old-fashioned frame of mind. It's very like the Grand Ole Opry, Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little dated.
Yeah, so I think that people are trying to bring the red carpet at the Academy of Country Music Awards into the arena of like the Grammys. So I'm hoping that the designers kind of bring this to the forefront. They bring the fashion to country.
I just think the guys got gypped.
The guy, yeah. They don't have looks that the designers are making for them.
No, I mean, they come out and they kind of like add their 2 cents, but why aren't we designing any stuff for the guys?
I don't know. I think that maybe in previous episodes of Project Runway and All Stars, we've seen that the challenges where they have to make menswear have gone horribly wrong. Because for menswear, the tailoring takes more time than a day.
Okay, but like, just make it a 2-day challenge. I mean, they've done like challenges before where it's like dress a guy and a girl to go on a date or whatever, and I don't know why even have them there if you're not gonna like give them an outfit.
True.
That's so wrong.
Well, that's true. It is kind of wrong. The guys are kind of like left out.
Oh.
But on this show, every year from the beginning, there has always been this coexisting thing of having to be great designers, but also great sewers, great dressmakers, seamstresses. However, this is not a show to discover America's next best seamstress.
Right.
It's to find the best fashion designer. And as you know, you can do both, but I'm sure that in your business, you have things sent out to be made that are maybe a certain fabric that you're not familiar working with. How does that work?
Well, I guess it depends. Like, honestly, in the industry, most people don't sew. You're supposed to know how to, but yeah.
Mic drop. Most people don't sew.
No, I mean, they'll just sketch, they'll do tech packs, they'll send it out to their factories or hand it off to, someone else. It'll get, the pattern will get made, and then it'll go through production.
So for people listening out there who might not know how this whole thing goes down, even though you're doing a good job of setting it up, how does a pattern even get made? What does that mean?
Well, it's basically like the instructions, which is also a tech pack. It's basically the instructions on how to make this garment. So if you want to tell someone who has never seen this garment before how to make it for you, you have to give them like a detailed instructions. You're basically building a 3D work of art. So,
yes, and so the pattern is like kind of drawn out on that drafting paper. Is that
right? And you know, different fabrics react differently, so you can't use the same pattern for every type of fabric.
Because you'd have to make the cuts a little bit bigger than the measurements for some fabric that might shrink.
Well, if it shrinks or if it stretches more, or if it stretches in more than one direction, you know, things like that.
Is that when it's cut on the bias?
It can be, yes. But you can also just have different fabrics. If you have something with 3% spandex or 9% spandex, it's going to stretch differently. So you have to do...
So there's a science to the fashion
process. It's very technical.
Wow.
So, okay. You can either do it from scratch. It's called flat patterning with all the measurements and specs and everything. Or you can just drape it on the dress form, which is... Some people like one or the other.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe for me, since I would be kind of starting, like, I've never sewn anything. I love fashion. I love talking about it, wearing it, everything involved, but I've never tried to make it. So for me, I would want to study how to do the pattern.
Yeah.
And how to create the right kind of cuts for different styles of fabric. So I would know going in, okay, this is definitely not going to work.
Right.
So at least I can eliminate something so I can have less problematic events in making a dress. But we're getting a little fashion school on you guys just because I'm curious, and Michelle has a wealth of information. Thank you, Michelle. And so, you know, you have the process of cutting the pattern, getting everything shipped back to you. So what, in your experience, have you had to send out, like, the most?
I do just a lot of bodysuits.
Bodysuits.
I get lots and lots of orders for bodysuits, so I usually send those out.
Okay.
And they're pretty straightforward, so it's like I'd rather spend my time working on like the more complicated things.
The custom elements.
Yeah. Yep.
That I have on right now from Michelle. Thank you. Okay. So now that we talked about that, I know that I have seen in many designers' workrooms and studios and ateliers that most designers work with the fabric. They might even drape it by hand. But once they've discovered a way that they want it to sit on the model's body as a fit model, then they will have the people that sew it come in. And they'll know each individual sewer's strengths and weaknesses. And it's like, okay, this has a lot of lace, so we need this seamstress specifically. Because certain people work really well with lace and certain people don't.
Well, and it comes into play later in this challenge when you see the designers using fabric they're not used to working with, because everything takes a different skill set.
Stella! Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
So, okay, I just wanted to go on a tangent about that for a little while, but it's interesting because my point is, you see a lot of looks on the runway that look like they could be something really spectacular. But the workmanship, the sewing, is really suffering, especially when they have such a short amount of time to make it. And I think what you're saying with the male counterparts of this band, that they could have something designed by these designers, sketched out, planned out, the fabric could be bought, and then they could possibly have like a team of tailors come in. That would be an interesting challenge where the designers could actually not do any of the sewing.
That would be pretty interesting.
They've never done that before. Who knows? I mean, I don't know how you would make that work for an episode, but Project Runway, make it work. We have the teams, and of course, since Sam is the winning designer from last week's challenge, congratulations again, he gets to select the teams of 2. So Sam picks Kini for his teammate. Then he chooses every team. He doesn't get to just choose like team leaders.
Oh yeah,
he's
it's
just
brutal.
doing the whole entire thing. Asha and Alexander are next. Then Layana and Emilie, Ken and Dom, Valerie and Stella, and Mitchell and Daniel. And so each team together gets $600 to share between them however they want, and 30 minutes to shop at Mood. What did you think with that fabric shopping, Michelle? What were you thinking about that?
It's kind of funny because I think the designers, you get paired up right away and they're like in shock, and then they right away go to Mood. So trying to get on the same page as your partner, I think it's I don't know. I mean, it's really difficult, I feel like, for a lot of designers to work with other designers in the first place.
Well, of course.
So they need to like let go of their ego and decide they're going to work as a team and still use their own strengths. I mean, it always ends up being like a big drama fest. So
well, but you know what? That's the nature of working together in any job, fashion or otherwise. I think.
Sure, but I mean, like, I feel like once you're more seasoned and you start to learn like that you can work with other people in a respectful way, I feel like a lot of the people, you know, that end up going on Project Runway are too used to working alone.
Yes. It is a solitary life as a fashion designer.
So, I mean, they get their feelings hurt, and they hurt other people's feelings, and nobody knows how to communicate. I mean, a lot of people in the industry work, with each other. And
yeah, I think you're right. I think it is easy to kind of be in your own head and in your own world as a designer. Being any kind of creative artist, I think, you can get lost in the art of it. And
when you don't get to pick your partner in this challenge.
Especially, yeah. And I think when fashion designers are able to work with a team in life, they become a great success. Like, way back in the beginning of Project Runway, Austin Scarlett, he won the first challenge of the first episode ever. And now, present day, he is a very successful bridal fashion designer. He does have his own line, but for years and years, he worked under another bridal line, and it was quite cool to see his progress. So I'll actually tweet about it later, and you guys can kind of catch up. I've gotten to wear some of his pieces in an informal fashion show at Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills.
Oh, right on.
And so I got to catch up with him, so that was really fun. Anyway, on another note, they're shopping at Mood. They get this fabric, and again, Stella, I love Stella's ambition. I think it's cool that she wants to work with different types of fabric. It didn't look like $600 worth of, well, it looked like Valerie got
for that much money, she should have got real leather. You know?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
if her half was like $300.
You can get real leather for that, for a whole dress?
I feel like she could have.
Yeah, maybe they would.
Or, you do the top. The top is structured and you do something.
I feel like Stella hasn't done a lot of separates this season. She has in the past on the show.
But even as a dress that's constructed together.
I was just really expecting a lot from her after last week's challenge.
Last week was amazing. It blew me away. So literally. I feel like she's always hit and miss. Like, it's either like amazing or nothing. And so.
So speaking of hit or miss, let's get to the runway rundown, shall we? I don't think there's that much to say about the workroom. It was the expected drama of the team members butting heads with each other. We kind of thought that was going to happen, right?
I mean, it wasn't even that dramatic, like, as much as I would, like, anticipate it to be.
Or as much as we wanted it to be.
But, yeah, it's just some, like, little, bickering and stuff.
Yeah, typical bickering. So, on the runway, the first look that comes out, of course, the first team, is Asha and Alexander. And right away, I knew that they would be in the top.
Yeah.
Because they chose to have their model's hair mimic the singer's hair in the band. And so, of course, right away, like, let's pretend I'm some kind of singer, which I'm not. And I'm a guest judge, and I have red hair. So if they sent a model out with red hair, like styled in some way that I would have been known to wear it, then I would have been like, oh my God, I already love these people. They thought about me.
But even on top of that, even if you just take away the model, what they made I thought was exceptional. It fit the challenge. It fit, the opposites attract. It fit the client. and it was cool and fashionable.
That's the song we should have played. Paula Abdul. Opposites Attract. It's okay. Shout out to Paula. We love you. So, yeah, I like the styling of the models. Now I guess we should break down each look individually. The first up is Asha. This is the look that you're looking at in the short mini dress. It is scalloped edged lace with a beautiful sequiny white fabric underneath. It's like a silvery white. And I love that it is one piece with a little cutout, so it almost looks like it's a top and a bottom. And a nice V-neck shape. It fits the model's body perfectly. And I love that the sleeves are nice and big, so it gives it a more of a red carpet moment instead of it just being kind of a normal looking dress.
Yeah.
The sleeves were my favorite part. I wrote, I love the sleeves, like really big sleeves. So for me, this is the best I've seen from Asha.
Yeah.
I really thought she stepped it up. I think for her, maybe, each designer needs a different kind of motivation, but for her, working with the people that she's designing for, like in person and getting their energy and vibe and music, I think that really works for her. And that was exciting to see that she could think of all that and put it together so well. And I gave her an 8.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was pretty cool. It kind of has that, like, throwback to the 70s vibe, but still very modern, kind of Love and Lemons and hip cool girl.
Like what? Like what?
Like Love and Lemons.
Love and Lemons.
Yeah, it's kind of this brand that's kind of, like, modern take on 70s lace and kind of rocker chic, but very, like,
I am going to look up this brand.
Oh, yeah, you'll like it.
Ooh.
But, I mean, I thought it was fresh. It looked expensive. I really liked the fabric she chose. Everything about it, the proportions and everything was totally right on. It's kind of, like, laid back, but I feel like it's still good for the awards season.
And it says country music to me.
Yeah.
But in a modern way, and I love even the shoes that she put with it.
Yeah, I did too.
A little bit of a modern twist on a nude shoe. And then, of course, Alexander's look was the perfect counterpart.
Oh, yeah.
Because opposites attract. That was the challenge. If I didn't make that clear earlier, each team had to choose 2 opposite themes to go together on the runway. And so this was light and dark. Mm-hmm. So, of course, it had a good flow to the second dress. Alexander's gown was this gorgeous blue and black evening gown all the way to the floor. The top was, the bodice has some great cutouts, and it's like a one shoulder drape. I love the draping on this gown. It's just such an effortless looking piece that I'm sure Alexander put a lot of thought into.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing that I knew Alexander could do. Last week and this week, bravo. This is the kind of thing that the first challenge, that's why I was like, what? Why would you do that, Alexander? Because I knew he could have this in him from his season on Project Runway. This is definitely more of a modern twist on the red carpet for country music, but we're ready for it.
Yeah.
And I gave it a 9.
I did too.
Woo!
And I gave him and Asha both a 9. I wrote effortless as well. It's kind of like a modern gown to me. You know, when I look at gowns, I get really bored. And this is very kind of simplistic, but I think just the way it's cut, it's very like kind of flirty and young for a gown. And I just love that it's kind of this dark black over the navy.
I think I love it more together with the other look. I think that's why.
I think both. I mean, I like it even by itself, but I think together they were the perfect. I mean, it was just like, it's hard to follow this act, I think.
Well, my one critique for this team was that the women look like they're going to 2 different parties. But I'm kind of okay with that because I think for a lot of award shows, if people, you know, if they didn't show up together and they were just doing the red carpet alone, they would both be appropriate. I think you notice with the Grammy Awards, people wear gowns, people wear cocktail dresses, they wear pants and shorts and who knows what.
Yeah, but you don't go like matching with your friends either.
No, exactly. You're right. Okay, good call. We don't want to be too matchy on the red carpet. So for the next runway rundown photo, we have got some hot messes for you. This is Mitchell and Daniel, and I'm going to talk about Mitchell's dress first. This is a pink what would you call this fabric? Terrible?
Which one?
Okay, well, I'm talking about from her waist down.
I feel like it's pink chiffon and pink charmeuse, like baby pink.
And why does that sound terrible together? Because it is. It's just a big gap. This is an example of terrible draping. We have Alexander's exquisite draping, and this is the complete opposite. Like, it's just like Mitchell, for lack of a better way of explaining it, took the fabric and just bunched it together in some kind of clump and tacked it on.
Yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't look like he put a lot of thought into this dress. It looks kind of like some first-year student at fashion school, and I say that about his looks every time. And I bet there's people in their first year of fashion school that can do better work than this. So I don't even want to put down the first-year fashion students. But I'm hard on Mitchell because he's on Project Runway All Stars.
Right.
If you were downing yourself in your season of Project Runway, well, maybe you could spend some time in your studio learning about sewing and draping techniques, learning about how you can evolve as a designer, and maybe pushing yourself in a different direction with your different design elements. This just doesn't look like any kind of evolution style-wise or craftsmanship-wise.
Right.
And the fit of the bodice wasn't even very good. The armholes don't look right. I do say the neckline is nice, I guess. And the color by her face and with her skin tone is very beautiful. But on the red carpet, this would just be like, oh my God, what happened to the real dress that
It
she
looks
was gonna
like
wear?
a kind of just a craft project where the feathers are like hot glued on to it.
Oh yeah, there's some hot pink feathers. I don't even know if those are feathers or if it's just little pieces of fabric.
Flowers. Yeah, I mean,
I wanted it to be feathers, but I don't know.
Here's the thing. I do agree with the judges. Like, I see the ideas from Mitchell, and I liked kind of the sketch and the concept.
I don't care
but
about
he
the ideas
can't-
when it looks like that.
But right, it's not executed right. So, I mean, I think it's like what you said, not just learning about like techniques and things, but it takes practice. You just have to get in your studio and do things and look at them with a critical eye instead of just everything I make I love. Like, nobody does that.
If you
know?
wanted to do a pink gown, do it to the letter. Perfect.
Right. It's pretty...
Honestly, like, if you're going to do pink, I think it should be one shade of pink for the whole thing. It doesn't need to be all these... It doesn't need to be 50 shades of terrible pink.
I mean, I think it could work if it's the right person, but to me, this just ended up like some kind of, like, cotton candy...
It just looks like some
explosion.
kind of costume. It almost verges on nightgown.
That's kind of what I was thinking, you know, those nightgowns that the women wore in the 50s, just like stay at home and be real rich.
It's like, did he get stuck on the old country music red carpet?
But it's not even that cute, though. You know what I'm saying?
It
It's
doesn't
just
even
not
go
right.
there. I mean, I would have preferred a crazy Dolly Parton look to this.
Yeah.
And she's not crazy. I'm just saying some of her designs that she's worn have been over the top, but in a good way.
Right.
So this is a 4. It fell flat for me.
Oh, I gave it a 2.
Okay, I was being too nice. Okay, and his teammate, by the way, this is supposed to be pleasure and pain. I don't see any pleasure really anywhere, except I do have to say, this is my favorite look that Daniel has done.
Yeah, well.
Because Daniel actually seemed to put something together that looked kind of finished. But if you guys have seen some of Daniel Franco's earlier work, his top of this gown is kind of like the top of almost every dress that he's done that has been successful. So maybe he just went back to his like pattern that he always does. Georgina Chapman said that if the skirt had been lined, this would have been a real success for him.
I agree.
I think this could even work with some kind of cool like leather pants underneath.
I mean, I think it just needed the lining. Honestly, you have the same pattern piece for the skirt. Just add some lining, anything. I mean, but even
he could have even lined it in that pink.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you know,
it just, I mean, anything. Like, first of all, you know that these girls aren't going to wear this on the red carpet.
No.
So why would you go there? It only takes you 5 extra seconds to put together a lining. Why wouldn't you do that? It's not acceptable.
They will wear it on the red carpet, but maybe another production of it. Like, they're going to make that to fit them.
But you're trying to please a client. If you put a girl down the runway in her underwear, that's what they're thinking. Like, why would you do this to me? Like, and even if you had the lining, to me, this is really boring. I've seen it 100 times before.
Okay, just to describe it, if you're listening and not watching, this look from Daniel has what looks like a strapless black bra with some kind of harness over it. It's all in black. Then from the bottom of the said harness, it is a see-through fabric all the way down to the floor. You can see the model's body through it. It looks like some kind of leathery material that's cut to look like a lace.
I think it's actually something like that, but it looks more to me like a lace with kind of leather bits in it. But right. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I would say that. I think you're right. And then the model has got black boy short style underwear because otherwise her whole butt would be out. So it's a good thing she had that. They must have told the model, okay, this is what you got to wear. But honestly, if this was for a different challenge, I think Daniel would have been really successful. I have to say, she kind of looks hot, like she's going to some kind of beach party, like a high-end, sexy night in Saint-Tropez, a resort. I think with
it's been done.
Glass of champagne. It has been done, but if that was the challenge, then Daniel would have done really well. It was just kind of the wrong dress at the wrong time, and I gave him a 5 only because I liked it if it was for something different.
I gave it a 3.
Okay.
Unacceptable.
So the next photo we have Stella and Valerie, and their team theme was
naughty and nice.
Naughty and nice.
Oof.
So I have to say,
cliche.
I'm just gonna go talk about Stella. So her dress was kind of leatherette, but not really. And it had a pointy bust, a crazy hooker slit all the way up to her underwear. And it's just kind of cheap. I just wrote cheap, cheap, cheap. I gave it a 4.
Super cheap. I gave it a 1. It literally looks like a Barbarella, Halloween costume. You can see the backing of the cheap leather fabric because it's slit open all the way, and the construction. This is not if you haven't worked with this fabric, don't do it, and don't try and make. The proportions look. It literally looks like a garbage can. I don't even know what to say.
Or a garbage bag.
A garbage bag.
I think the bodice could have been cool. If it was cut at the waist and then something else on the bottom.
Sure, yeah, and maybe if it was longer or something, because the shape is cool, but it just looks so crinkled and wrong.
There's a missing piece. There's a whole missing piece.
There's just throw it in the trash can and start over.
What was your number?
I gave it a 1.
Oh, wow, nothing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So Valerie is her teammate, and she's supposed to be the nice part of it. Although it was so nice that it looked like it wasn't even for a red carpet. It looked like it was for a daytime luncheon or something.
A luncheon, for sure, yeah.
Except why would you wear white to a luncheon? Because I would spill food all over myself.
The thing that killed it for me was the tie in the front, because I'm like, are you wearing sweatpants? What is this? Looks way too casual.
Too casual. I like that. I really think this was successful, but not for a red carpet. So it was the wrong week for her to make this look. I feel like all these designers have this arsenal of things that they can make if they're being smart about going into the show, and then they're like, when can I throw this one in? When can I throw this one in? This was the wrong week to throw this look in there, Valerie.
Anyway, it a 5. What did you give it?
I gave it a 6 because I really like it on its own, just not for this challenge. Okay, moving on. We have Sam and Keeney, and oh my God, what the hell is this? I don't understand how it went on the top. I think there was just a lot of things that failed.
Because the other ones were just so bad.
So Sam, I don't know, is she going to an office party? It's the wrong, again, people don't understand red carpet at all this week because it's just wrong on so many levels. And I don't like what Keeney made for the top of that at all. Well, it's terrible.
That's where they went wrong. Sam let Keeney finish his outfit for him. That's what went wrong. No, I don't think it's necessarily red carpet. Maybe he needed some sequins or something. But I really liked the idea, you know, Sam's jumpsuit is the new circle skirt for him.
It's beautiful, but it's just wrong for this event altogether.
But at least in the workroom, Xana liked the original idea with the lapel and stuff. This is completely different. It doesn't look like Sam. This is not something Sam would ever make, ever.
I like the pants part of it, but Alyssa Milano loved it.
Because it makes her look like a still walker. She's like so
She's like,
tall.
wow, I would look so tall in this.
Yeah.
Okay, I gave it like a 6.5. Sam,
5.
Sam, it's really good, just all wrong for the event.
Do your own work.
Yes. Keeney thinks that this is J-Lo part 2, but not as sexy. Keeney, I don't know, is this some kind of like early 1990s like Barbie doll costume? This is also some kind of like caftan nightgown. I don't know what's happening here, but it is really wrong, and it sends the wrong message down the red carpet. It's almost like an accident.
To me, it was like the elf queen in the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's all I could think. Like, the styling and everything, it's just like, ah.
Except this is not even as nice of a color.
I don't like the print either.
No,
but
no.
It doesn't scream fashion to me. It just kind of seems very, like, cosplay.
Now, Keeney is one of those people that would win America's Next Best Seamstress, but, or Seamster, whatever you call the male version. But Seamster, new word right now, hashtag Seamster. Keeney has always had questionable taste with fabric choices all along. I don't understand. He goes with this like weird blue print over this basic blue gown. And then in the past, he's done so much denim that I don't get it. I don't get denim as a gown unless you're like Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake going to the MTV Awards in like 1999.
I don't get it as a gown, but some of the cute like mini dresses and stuff that he's done, it made sense. But I feel like it's just kind of like an accident, like when
none of this makes any sense. If either one of these women went down the red carpet, I would say worst dress. I don't understand how they were in the top, and I gave it a 5.
I gave them both a 5.
Next, we've got Ken and Dom. This is another dark and light, and it is boring and more boring. Dumb and dumber. I'm sorry. Ken, it's not red carpet worthy. It's got a weird hemline on those pants that I don't understand. And it looks like his hemline on the bottom isn't even finished right. It looked like there was a lot of thread hanging down.
I don't know, but it's a real awkward length. I liked the top, and when they zoomed in and I could see the details, I really liked it a lot, but it's not really runway worthy. You can't see all that detail because the color is so dark, and her hair is covering
it. Her hair is covering it all up.
Yeah, so... I mean, whatever, okay.
Ken and Dom were like, you know what, our strategy this week is to just be in the safe group.
Right.
Because this is not the top or the bottom. It's just kind of like passable. I gave Ken a 5. It's just whatever. Dom, I'm sorry, is she wearing a straight jacket? Because the way those lines are on her shoulders and arms, it looks like it's like pushing her whole body back, and it doesn't look attractive.
I liked the concept. I thought it was cool and futuristic, but it was really overworked.
Futuristic? I don't know.
I think it's like one of those kind of utopian futures. Everything is white.
Maybe the sleeves and the neckline, but the dress is so boring and basic.
It is a little basic, but I think the striping, it was overworked when you kind of zoom in on the sleeves. It was like layered and stitched really.
And it's a wonky fit on the bust also. Yeah. So it's just like a basic fitted white dress with some interesting sleeves.
I gave them both a 5 too.
Yeah. All right, 5 and 5. Now we have our last group, Layana and Emilie. And at least there was something interesting going on with these two, but it was the wrong kind of interesting. I don't know what was in the water this week of this challenge, but something is really odd. Layana has this blue mini dress that she has turned into a gown with some kind of netting overlay, and she's got all this like everything is overworked, and it's really bad. She's got all this ruching, and she has this technique of these little gathers up the model's side of her body, but it goes to the front, and then she's got like triple straps putting it on her shoulders, and it just looks like a bad 80s prom dress. And it's just that color too is very dated for me. It's a very like, I don't know, it's like a sad blue color. It almost reminds me of something that would be on some kind of doll instead of Dolly Parton.
That's what I wrote Barbie prom grandma, like, you know, like
Barbie prom grandma?
Like, you know, when grandmas, they have, like, their reunion, you know, they're, like, you know, like, 70, and they have their school reunion.
This is what I wore to my prom. Yeah. You can wear it too, honey.
I don't know, it just wasn't fashion at all. It wasn't attractive to me. And I feel like Layana could do something much, much better.
And their theme was bride and groom, and I don't see bride or groom in this anywhere.
Maybe ugly bridesmaid dress, but I don't. It was a cool, cool concept to start with, but then, like, what happened to it?
I don't know if it was even a good concept. I think.
But okay, light and dark, so cliche. Like, you know, pain and pleasure, all this stuff's cliche. At least they had something sort of creative that they could come up with.
Yeah, but I'm thinking. These designers are supposed to be all-stars. They're supposed to be very creative. How come they wouldn't think of more interesting opposites?
Yeah, seriously. 2 of them did dark and light. Come on, guys.
Anyway, okay, so actually, Emilie's look, if I saw it by itself and it wasn't for this challenge, I would say, you know what, Emilie, this is one of my favorites. Believe it or not, that she has done.
I don't like the pants. They look like pajama pants. I really like the top.
But for some reason, it works for me this week.
I like the top. I think it should be with, like, skinny jeans or something, and then it would be a lot cooler. I don't like the pants. They look like genie pants.
I dream of genie.
It's just too much, like, with them together. But I mean,
together. It's not even opposite. It's just like 2 different wavelengths, 2 different eras. Like, what era are we in? But Emilie, you know, she's had a lot of ups and downs, but I kind of really love especially the top half of this.
At least Emilie's is interesting.
Yeah, it's visually interesting, and I think if there's someone on a red carpet that is kind of an edgy artist who might have some really crazy, kooky hair and accessories and might say something a little off-kilter and some kind of crazy, like, spiky arm cuff. I don't know. I think
she needed, like, a statement necklace with that drop neckline, and then she could have glammed it up a lot more.
I think on the right woman, this would be a cool red carpet look. It just didn't. It doesn't say anything about country music at all, and it's really kind of a sad color way to go. But for Emilie, I was really proud of this look for her because I thought it was pretty different for her. So I did give it a 7. But I'm looking at it now and I'm not so sure. So that's the last look of the evening. And so the winning pair is
Asha and Alexander.
Asha and Alexander. Good job tonight, guys.
Totally deserved.
Nailed it. And as soon as the models came out, we knew it. We loved it. That was the first picture of the night. If you guys want to put it back up, that's the winning duo. And I was hoping that the losing team would both go home.
Me too. Make up for that.
Oh,
first episode.
Mitchell and Daniel are the worst team this week. I'm not saying that they don't have potential. They actually sent home Daniel. And they both could have deserved it. But honestly, I kind of wish it was Mitchell. Because at least Daniel had some kind of evolution this week. It looked like a little bit more...
I think it should have just been both of them. Like, just both of them. But honestly, I think the judges thought that Mitchell at least has some creative new ideas, and Daniel's just, like, done.
I don't know if they're new ideas. They might be creative, though.
But you know what I mean? Like, he's willing to go crazy outside of the box. Like, 1,000,000 miles outside of the box.
I really hope that Mitchell can, like, somehow go along the lines of Betsy Johnson and the Blondes and... if you guys don't know, but I'm going to tweet that out too. I'm going to talk about the Blondes because I always refer to them and I want you guys to know how awesome they are.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Mitchell has a really interesting take on fashion and it's completely his own. It's not like he doesn't want to jump on the bandwagon of everybody else and what's going on, but he just needs to, like, sit in his basement and sew for, like, 3 years and then come back and, like, talk to us because he just needs some practice.
I think what he wants to make is he wants to make girls feel girly.
Yeah.
I think that's his goal. And I think he's there with his thought process, but with the actual bringing it to life
isn't happening. Yeah,
the life gets sucked out of it. I'm sorry,
because I thought his sketch was good. Like, I understood that, and then when it came to interpreting that into the fabric, it was a fail. So
as soon as he was in the workroom with the fabric on his head, I was like, oh no, that doesn't look like the sketch at all.
Yeah.
So next week we're looking forward to now I forget his name, but he was on America's Next Top Model, and I believe he's the guest judge next week, and he's the one that would kind of judge all the photo shoots, and he would put together the ideas for that, so I'm excited. And I have drawn a blank, but
Johnny?
That's okay. Johnny
Woochek.
Johnny Woochek. Thank you, Michelle. Every time I draw a blank, you got my back. Wow. Okay, so that is it for our little recap tonight. I feel like there's more to say, but a lot of these looks kind of took the wind out of our sails.
Yeah.
But
hopefully they can come back next week and
we're still inspired by New York Fashion Week, and now it's London Fashion Week, and then we got Paris and Milan, and so I'm still excited to see what they come out with on the show here on All Stars, but I'm also excited to see what's going on. Thank goodness Vogue Runway keeps tweeting all this stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of looks that come down the runway on these, Fashion Week runways that a lot of people could critique and say, what were they thinking? This is terrible. But at least everything that has come out has been a clear thought and executed well. Even if people think it's crazy, it's still like a full thought. I don't know if you've noticed the Marc Jacobs fall 2016 collection, but everything is huge, oversized. Everyone's saying, say goodbye to the skinny jean. I don't want to say goodbye.
Me neither.
But I guess we have to say goodbye tonight, and you can see us on social media later. Michelle, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Uberreste.
Uberreste. That is uber interesting. You guys can find me, Amanda Fields, on Twitter and Instagram at The Runway Queen. Maybe you guys can convince us to get Snapchat. I don't have it yet. Tell me why I should get it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time on the runway.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.